Unstyled miles. A tactfully timed and mostly mid-tempo top-up of stationary mobility sneaked between statutory domestic duties, if only to ensure that, no matter at what resolution or how many frames per second, I don't lag too far behind Zwift's reigning distance kings and queens, or, in accordance with Strava's long-rumoured gender-neutral naming scheme for all its royally themed achievements, adult human monarchs. Should such a paradigm shift come to pass, I'd soon start praying that my battle-hardened SB20, whose recently acquired parent company, along with any official user support, now exists in a state of indefinite limbo, and today added a pancake-flat right-hand crank to its semi-functional rear shifter buttons, would mercifully shuffle off its magnetic coils and set this self-conscripted peddling puppeteer free. No postural prerequisites, timed power targets, mandatory cadences, pulse-modulated intervals, or anything else remotely resembling what Trainer Road's podcast team might claim constitutes a zonally structured workout. Instead, following an opening uphill sprint that was required to reel in and clamber aboard the last economy-class coach of Coco's Clifftop Express, I contentedly cast caution to fate's capricious whims in the hope of proving, once and for all, that progress need be no more painful than any regular role player permits. More home spinsurance. Sailed steadily forwards through our convivial pedalling payload after one full lap of its allocated route, taking care not to rub too many shoulders where there was standing room only, until I reached this big blue pleasure train's runaway engine car, where I briefly joined forces with a heavy-footed quartet, who were collectively cranking out almost 2 broken horsepower, roughly 1.5 kilowatts in layman's amps, as we gathered steady steam through the volcano's smoky cavern and flung up billowing clouds of dust en route to Villas Italia. However, this headstrong decoupling only lasted long enough for me to clock that doubling my drop rate as a comfortable passenger was of far greater value than the 1 mile-an-hour boost in virtual velocity I was receiving for my voluntary driving services, whereupon I discreetly drifted back to a spacious sleeper carriage and spun out the remainder of this Sunday one-way back to Bedfordshire. And after the rest of a non-eventful Valentine's Day weekend, though it's of scarcely any consequence upon life's infinitely grand scale of unstructured suffering, following a successful fresh battery test for my stationary steed's creaky Gen 3 power cranks, which lasted the bearable part of 60 aerobically bittersweet minutes, spent maxing out my Monday allowance of blue bullion within the crowded buffet car of Coco's lively-legged locomotive, I enjoyed the fastest and most fulfilling free-wheeled coffee break that any pedal-weary avatar could possibly conceive within their wildest pixelated fantasies. In the wake of a routine rolling start close to Mount Epic's reverse comm, I ramped steadily up to Zwift's flattering virtual cruising speed, which today was further boosted by our amply proportioned peloton maintaining tight formation around what was a densely populated course. Configured my data dungeon's customizable microclimate to simulate the thermally agreeable conditions of a typical Bondi beach barbecue, but with swipe-sensitive breezes potent enough to ensure that ambient temperatures didn't approach levels that inhibited the body's natural cooling abilities. For a reflective degree of monitored exertion, strain-gauged wattages from 2 revived and accurately calibrated power meters stabilized at around 15% above that of our inexhaustible leader's average power-to-weight output. When accounting for the low, median, and high values that are dynamically applied whilst travelling over neutral, negative, and positive gradients, this amounts to 2.5 watts for each of the 75 kilograms that form her ultralight animatronic physique. And according to classified blueprints purportedly leaked by former members of FutureWorks' anonymous design team, each colour-coded robo-pacer's anatomy consists of reinforced fiberglass body armour covering the hip, shoulder, and chest areas of a stainless steel skeleton that is autonomously operated by hydraulic joints, with the upper torso and pelvis being securely connected by a backbone of repurposed drain pipe.